Good evening, everybody. I'm Hugh Tomlinson, president of the Tallahassee Quarterback Club, and I want to welcome you to our third digital program edition by the Tallahassee Quarterback Club. We're trying to feed your football fever, giving you some great content with some great guests. And tonight we have with us Famu head coach, Coach Willie Simmons, and we have Famu Vice President and Athletic Director, Courtney Gaucher. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming on and being part of this. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's good. Good there. Great to see you guys. Here we are. It's football season, and Coach, you're not playing football. How are you doing with all of this? I mean, it's 2020, but man, no FAMU football. What's going on, and how are you handling that? As big a football guy as you are, I know it must be driving you crazy seeing everybody else play.
It's been rough. Obviously, we've been using this term "new normal" for about 5 or 6 months now, and so we've come to understand here at Florida A&M that this is our new normal. That we won't be playing football this fall. That we've been pushed to the spring because of the concerns over COVID-19 and our lack of being able to adequately test as a conference, not necessarily here at Florida A&M. I commend my Vice President and Athletics Director, Courtney Gaucher, our President, the administration, for allowing us to test here at the stadium. We've been testing now for probably 4 months now, and we've been able to test our guys every week because of that. So we're able to satisfy the guidelines, but many of our member schools within the conference weren't able to do so. And so as a collective body, we made a decision to postpone this fall season until the spring. And so right now we're in the process of working out, conditioning with our guys. We'll begin practicing in a couple of weeks. But the guys are doing the best job they can of trying to stay focused and locked in because we still have a lot of goals ahead of us. And we still have a huge football season that we're preparing for coming this February.
That's great. If you're just tuning in, this is the Tallahassee Quarterback Club and its digital program featuring FAMU head coach Willie Simmons and athletic director Courtney Gaucher. Thank you for tuning in. Hit your share button if you're watching on Facebook Live so that other people will see this program and tune in to watch. And if you're interested in learning more about the Tallahassee Quarterback Club, you can go to TallahasseeQBClub.com. You can learn about membership. You can learn about the good things that we do. We've had a long-standing relationship, Courtney, with FAMU, and over the years since our inception in 1949. It started in the 1950s with FAMU. We want to say welcome to you to Tallahassee and to FAMU.
Thank you so much, and we are really excited about continuing that great tradition. And it's always a good opportunity when we can share some of the special things that are happening on the highest of 7 hills. So we appreciate it tremendously.
Oh, that's great. How's your experience been coming to Tallahassee so far?
It's been phenomenal. A good friend of mine and a Florida State legend in his own right, but Rick Stockstill and myself spent quite a bit of time together at my time at Middle Tennessee, and he always talked about how special Tallahassee was. And from the moment that I set foot in town, it's been phenomenal. People from all over town who have really embraced us. Who've helped us move the needle for Florida A&M and continue to partner with us. So we're just excited to talk about those good things and obviously get to know other people in the community.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, Coach, you mentioned a little bit about not playing and so forth. How are the kids reacting to the shutdown and to the delay to their season?
Well, we're a little over 2 months into that decision now. And so obviously when the news broke sometime this summer, it was frustrating for many of them. Of course, our senior class had a lot of questions and concerns about what their future looked like here at Florida A&M and their ability to play football beyond this season. Our underclassmen weren't as concerned because they knew they had extra time. But again, I do commend our administration. We've had open and honest communication from day one. And so we kind of put a plan together about how we would re-acclimatize our young men, bringing them back to campus, what this fall would look like for them. So we were able to give them that plan early enough where they can make some decisions. We obviously have a few guys who decided to stay back home, and being that most of their classes are virtual. And so they're choosing to work, make a few extra dollars for themselves and their families, and we respected that decision. The vast majority of our guys are here, so we're probably about 90% guys in Tallahassee, and they've done a phenomenal job. And the ones who are home working, they have a plan to be back soon once we actually begin practices. And so again, because we were able to give them a plan way back in July, I think that's helped with their parents, with the planning process, because in this type of situation, open communication is key and vital. And so again, I tip my hat to my boss, Coordinator Gaucher, our administration, for giving me a solid plan to implement with our young men and their families. And that has kept a lot of the confusion down and allowed us to put a plan together that we're working right now, and our young men are following that plan to a T, and we see ourselves improving every single day.
What kind of interactions are the players allowed to have with the coaches? Are you seeing them every day, or is it still limited?
We're able to interact with them. The NCAA has allowed us 12 hours of instruction per week, and so we're able to do on-the-field drills with these young men. We're able to get 15 practices in, much like a spring format, over a 34-day period. That won't begin until October. So right now, we're typically we're pretty much in an off-season type of mindset. So we're taking the field 3 times a week, doing drills, basic football fundamental drills. We just hired a new strength and conditioning coach who actually just got here this week. So we're very excited to have him here. The guys seem really, really fired up about him, and just in their limited interaction with him, it seems like a great marriage. And so he's got them working extremely hard, getting bigger, faster, and stronger. Our coaches are really implementing a lot of fundamental football drills. That's what we're focusing on right now. Alignment, knowing how to line up, knowing how to get in a good football stance, just football 101. We're basically in football school right now. That's their 16th, 17th, and 18th hour. They have their 15 hours of classes, and then their other 3 hours is football 101. So we're just really trying to get them back in the mold of what it means to be a football player, what it means to be a student athlete. And again, once we're able to take the field sometime in February, we feel we'll be prepared to go out and compete for a championship right away.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, A.D. Gaucher, can you tell our listeners and members a little bit about your background? We didn't get a chance to meet you since COVID has begun, so give us a little background on you.
So I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I attended Jacksonville State University and actually had an opportunity to come to Tallahassee in 2009 and play against the Seminoles. And after my short term at Jacksonville State University, I moved on to Middle Tennessee State University, where I served in 3 different roles there. Got an opportunity to meet a couple of Seminoles, Rick Stockstill and Brett Brock, and served as Associate Athletic Director and Chief Operating Officer there during my 6.5-year term. And then in 2018, I transitioned from Middle Tennessee to the University of Miami and served as Associate AD and over facilities and operations there. And I was minding my own business in South Florida when Dr. Robinson decided to call me last fall. And we really had an opportunity to talk about the vision for FAMU athletics, how special our student athletes are, how special our coaches are. And I fell in love with this university. And since stepping foot in Tallahassee, I fell in love with this community. And so that's the Cliff Notes version. I've had a unique experience in intercollegiate athletics, starting as an equipment manager. And so I've done just about every job in an athletic department. And now I kind of get blamed. So whether some things go good or some things go bad. So we're used to that.
That's awesome. Now, Willie, you're on this is your 3rd year, right? What kind of difference has having A.D. Gaucher here meant to you in football?
Where do I begin? Just looking down at my carpet. So there's the brand new carpet that I'm sitting on, and the new computers that we've received, all of our coaches, new furniture that's on the way, just a complete overhaul of Gallimore Powell Fieldhouse. One thing I think, of course, many people in Tallahassee know about Florida A&M is how rich our history is and how much tradition we have here. Well, that history and tradition was seen in this facility for a long time because we hadn't done really any significant upgrades in about 30 years. And just in the short period of time that VP Gaucher's been here, we have brand new lockers in the weight room, in the locker room that were just installed a few weeks ago. We have a brand new floor in the locker room, brand new weight room floor, brand new weight room equipment. We just received $10 million from the city of Tallahassee to upgrade our stadium and make significant improvements. And the list goes on and on. The softball field has just received a new turf surface. Baseball received a locker room. Everything in athletics has been overhauled in less than 10 months. And so I commend the work that my boss has done, just coming in, rolling his sleeves up, not complaining, just going to work and really caring about student athletes, really going to bat for us as coaches. And even during this time of COVID, this would have been the most inopportune time to come to Florida A&M during a national crisis. But again, he's done a phenomenal job of leading us throughout this entire process. And I've grown as a coach in the short period of time that I've been able to work with him. And I'm just excited about the direction that this program is headed. And I just want to make sure I do my part to continue to raise the brand of Florida A&M football because he's doing a great job of raising the overall brand of FAMU athletics. And last but not least, the Rattler Athletic Fund, my fundraising engine that he started a few months back that's already seen record giving by our alumni, by key donors, just by everyone invested in FAMU athletics. So I can spend hours talking about the work that he's done. But the good thing is that this is only the beginning. The work isn't done, and he's continuing to impress all of us every single day.
Well, Willie, we're going to take a clip of this and send it to you in case you need to send it to AD anytime to remind him all these nice things you said about him, okay? We'll put that in your arsenal.
We'll do that around contract time.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, AD, you talk to us about now FAMU's transitioning from the MEAC into the SWAC, and tell us about the process and decision process of doing that and why this is great for FAMU and walk us through this process.
Absolutely. In words, and I typically deflect very quickly because it's I think our successes and some of the things that have happened here so far are really a testament to our team. And, it starts with our coaches, our student athletes, and our administrators who really execute a lot of these things. And I get the good job of delivering the good news in some cases. But, we talked about the transition from the MEAC to the SWAC, and we knew early on in my tenure that it was something that we were really going to look at. Honestly, I thought I was probably a year or two away from really diving into that. And, not only did COVID-19 play a factor into that decision, but also just the climate around the industry right now. If you look at teams, they're trying to play more regional and geographically friendly competition so that fans can get there. We have a unique brand, and typically in the MEAC, our footprint, was really it's a very large footprint. As far south as Tallahassee, but as far north as Dover, Delaware. And, as people.
I think Courtney is, AD, are you back with us? Coach, while we're waiting for AD to get back in, what does that mean going to this SWAC in terms of your FAMU's traditional rivalries, and do you see any new rivalries being started?
Yeah, I'm very excited about the move to the SWAC. Obviously, it's where I cut my teeth as a head football coach. I spent 6 years in the conference as a coordinator and head coach at Alcorn State and Prairie View A&M respectively before I became head coach here. So just going back to a conference that's led FCS football in attendance 37 of the last 38 years, just being a part of some natural rivalries that we already have with schools like Southern University, Jackson State University, Grambling State University, Alabama State University, which is 3 hours away from us up there in Montgomery. And so just the ability, like Courtney said, to be able to travel to regional games where one of our biggest assets is the Marching 100. And so for the ability of the 100 to now follow us to Montgomery, to follow us to Jackson, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi, to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and go on the road and play against those premier bands, I think makes for a great college atmosphere. So again, I think it's going to do wonders for our brand, because every Saturday is going to be that big game environment. And no knock against the MEAC. I've enjoyed my time here. We've done some phenomenal things in this conference. But when you bring a team from Dover, Delaware down to Tallahassee, the game day atmosphere is just not, what it is going to be when you bring Southern University here, from Baton Rouge, or when you bring Alabama State here, from Montgomery. So every home game for us now has a chance to be a homecoming-like atmosphere. And so that's going to do wonders for us as far as our attendance, which has a direct impact on revenue. It's going to allow us to market our brand to a lot more vendors. Just tremendous revenue opportunities for this program, which have been sorely needed. So this move to the SWAC is one for us that we feel like will enhance not only the football program, but our entire athletics department. And so it's going to save us a lot of money on the front end, but we think it's going to make us a lot of money on the back end. And obviously, that the business of athletics, and of course, VP Gaucher likes to talk about that, in his presentation, but the business of athletics is so critical. And for us to be able to generate significant revenue that can go back into facilities, go back into staffing, some of the limitations that we've had over the years being a member of the MEAC, which is really a toll on us as far as travel. Flying up and down the East Coast has really taken a toll on our athletic budget. And so to be able to save some of those dollars and be able to pump them back into other parts of our program will really do wonders for enhancing the brand of Florida A&M and allowing us to attract a much higher caliber student athlete.
Oh, that's great. That's exciting. Well, okay, so you got one more go at it in the MEAC, right? And now 2021, FAMU can make history. Tell us how that can happen. Tell us what that means.
Exactly. And, one thing we say we brag different. Obviously, Bragg Stadium is where we play. So FAMU has a lot of play on words. But one of the ways that we like to brag is to say we're the school of first. We have a lot of first in our history, especially when it comes to prominent people doing tremendous things in the community. But one of the things we have an opportunity to do is make history by being the first football team to win conference championships in two different conferences in the same calendar year. So we'll be members of the MEAC in spring of 21, our last full season as members of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and then we'll transition to the Southwestern Athletic Conference July 1 of 21 and play a full football season next fall. So we can theoretically win the conference championship this spring as members of the MEAC, and then turn around and win the conference championship next fall as members of the SWAC. And that'll be something that has never been done in the history of college football. So our football team is very excited about that. Our alumni fan base, our administration is very excited about that. And that's some of the motivation for our guys working extremely hard and doing all the necessary things to make sure that we keep each other safe so that we're not shut down. We're not able to go out and practice and get ourselves better every single day.
Well, no pressure, but really pressure. We need you to make that happen in Tallahassee, okay? We need a couple of championships, and we need you to carry it for us here in the community. So good luck with that, but we do expect you to win 2 of them. That'll be fun.
Well, I'll say this, and I think I made the same statement last night. To say no pressure when you're the head football coach at FAMU or Florida State is joking. You're joking when you say no pressure, because we understand the amount of pressure that comes with these two positions. So, but it's one that we all embrace, And again, when you coach at programs like this, where the expectations are so high because of the history that we all have, is what makes these two places so unique. So we take it all in fun. But every day you wake up and you're a head football coach at one of these two institutions, you better do your yoga or your meditating or whatever you got to do to calm yourself, because you're going to walk out the door to a world of pressure when you're staring Rattlers and Seminoles in the face being the head football coach.
That's exactly right. That's it. And welcome back. A.D. Courtney is back with us. Are you there, sir? All right, you got to unmute.
All right, we are back, and I do apologize for the technical difficulty.
Hey, it's 2020. This happens, right?
It's
Well, Courtney, we were just talking with Coach about winning 2 conference championships in 2021, and that he had a lot of pressure because we demanded it here in Tallahassee. We needed some championships. What say you?
Absolutely. So we joked about it, but I definitely think that it's within the reach, for our team, and what a way to really end the special tenure that we've had in the MEAC, and a way to certainly enter the SWAC. And I know last week there was a lot of talk of prime time, and
yeah, we were going to get to that. Yeah.
We actually get to open our inaugural SWAC competition, against Coach Prime there. And so, and so we're looking forward to winning the MEAC and winning the SWAC in the same year.
That would be awesome. That really would. And you brought that up. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, made quite a publicity splash, or big splash, coming into the SWAC and stuff. How excited, have you had a chance to talk with him, Coach, and how excited are you to go against that, gosh, looks like an all-star Hall of Fame coaching staff over there?
Well, I haven't personally had an opportunity to talk to him yet. I don't think anybody has, because I think he's been doing interviews with every major media outlet since he's been named head coach at Jackson State. So I don't know if his kids have even talked to him. But I had an opportunity to speak with their athletic director, Ashley Robinson. Ashley was actually the athletics director at Prairie View A&M when I was hired there. So he gave me my first opportunity as a head coach, and so we've had a great relationship since that time. And so I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I've known for some time now that Deion was going to be the coach there at Jackson State, and I still have friends there, and we're looking forward to it. We think it's going to be a great opportunity, one for him. Anytime you get a chance to lead a program, it's a tremendous opportunity, and so he's assembling a first-class staff. It looks like guys that have a wealth of playing experience at the highest level. And so for us, we think it's going to make the Orange Blossom Classic next September, Labor Day weekend, one of the hottest tickets in the country at any level. FBS, FCS, you name it. You're talking about Florida A&M with all our history and tradition going up against none other than primetime Deion Sanders. So Miami's going to be rocking next year, Miami Gardens, and we're looking forward to, again, opening our SWAC slate against Jackson State. So long time coming, long time from now, but the excitement is definitely continuing to build, and we're going to ride that momentum, and hopefully we're going to make his honeymoon a bad nightmare when the Rattlers take the field against Jackson State.
Okay, AD, we got to match the splash. Are you going to allow Coach Willie to be dropped in by helicopter or drive a Lamborghini onto the field? What are we going to do to match that excitement?
So this is what we tell people. We brag different over here, and again, we like to light up the scoreboard. So we'll let the scoreboard talk for us.
There you go. And I'm sure you could do that. Coach, you've got players that's coming back. You got some great players coming back that can light up that scoreboard.
We do. Starting with Xavier Smith. Number 19, Xavier is a preseason All-American. He was a first-team All-Conference wide receiver last season, led the conference in receptions, in yards, was second in touchdowns. Only receiver in the conference to eclipse 1,000 yards, and finished last season ranked in the top 10 in the country in receptions, yards, and receiving yards per game. And so very dynamic young man. He's only a junior on the field, so we have at least 2 more years with him. With this new ruling, could potentially even have 3 years with him. But we're excited about the opportunity that Xavier brings to this offense as a very, very dynamic playmaker. He can play in the slot, he can play outside. It's my job to make sure I figure out ways to get him the football. But he's not the only weapon that we have. Obviously, Zenday Ray is another dynamic wide receiver / running back for us. He's a young man that came to us as a 3-star athlete out of Defuniak, Florida. Started his career as a running back, made the transition to wide receiver when we got here. And he's another very dynamic playmaker, a guy that has scored touchdowns for us, rushing the football, catching the football. He even threw a touchdown pass last year. He's one of our leading return guys. And so very, very just a dynamic young man who brings an element to this offense that allows us to be very, very versatile. Chad Hunter, who's a local product from right here in Tallahassee, Ricketts High School product. Didn't have a great year last year because of injuries, but we're very excited to have him back full speed. Before he got injured, he was an all-conference caliber wide receiver. And so you look at our receiver core, and then you throw David Manigo in there, who kind of stepped in for Chad last year and had a huge year as a second-team all-conference wideout. We have arguably the best receiving core in FCS football. So again, we have the ability to spread the field, score a bunch of points, play with a bunch of tempo, and we feel like we'll create some problems for defenses with the amount of talent we have out wide. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Marquise Bell, the young man who was an all-conference performer last season, led the conference in interceptions, probably led the conference in knockout hits. Finally caught up to him, got a targeting call the last game of the season last year, but just a phenomenal football player, 6'3", 210-pound safety, former Under Armour All-American coming out of high school. And he's a young man that has a very bright future. You'll see him playing on Sundays, because, again, he has that type of ability. And then we just have the fortune of having the best punter in the country. Chris Fadoul has led the nation in punting, 2 years ago, and he finished second last season. And so he's a returning All-American, has another year, and I think he'll continue to leave his mark on the record books by the time he leaves here. So, we're not short on talent. That's the one good thing about us here at Florida A&M. We can line up with pretty much anyone on our schedule and have just as much talent as them. And so the only falls on us as coaches to now put these young men in position to be successful. We feel like we have the coaching staff to do that. We're very excited about our new offensive line coach who will arrive later on this week, who has a ton of experience at the highest level, coaching Power 5 football at Arkansas in Louisville. And we feel like he's going to be a guy that can take our run game to the next level. And so we definitely have the ability, we have the coaching staff, and now we have the resources, with the job that our athletics director has done to provide our young men with the first-class experience as far as their locker room, their weight room, the stadium that we'll play in this coming fall. And so we're very excited about the direction Florida A&M is headed, and I'm just honored to be the leader of such a tremendous program.
That's great. If you're tuning in or just tuning in, this is the Tallahassee Quarterback Club presents a roundtable discussion with FAMU head coach Willie Simmons and FAMU Vice President Athletics Director Courtney Gaucher. You can learn more about the Tallahassee Quarterback Club by going right here to TallahasseeQBClub.com. You can find out about your membership, about joining the club, the things that we do to support the local community, and the 2 universities and 10 local prep high schools that play the game we love. You can check all that out, again, at TallahasseeQBClub.com. Now, Coach, as you know, the Tallahassee Quarterback Club has given awards out to local high school football players for many years for each week of the season. And the rumor is that FAMU assigned some of our players of the week here local. Tell us what the local talent means right here to FAMU football and everything.
Oh, well, I truly believe that we have some of the best football in America right here in the Big Bend area. Obviously I'm biased being a product of this area, growing up in Quincy, Florida, but again, we made it our mission to start our recruiting right here in Tallahassee, right here in the Big Bend area, and then expand from there. And so I remember when I first got here, I was sitting there watching, Terrence Crawford receive Offensive Lineman of the Year from the Tallahassee Quarterback Club. Terrence Crawford came in with us in that first signing class. I remember Xavier Smith, being a Player of the Year last season, 2 seasons ago. Leading Florida High to a state championship appearance, and we signed Javen Morgan and his teammate Jolin Gilly. And so right now we arguably have 15 or so guys from Tallahassee on the roster. From Rickers, Godby, FAMU DRS, McClay, NFC, you name it. And so we want to make sure that we tap into this local talent because what better way to fill Bragg Memorial Stadium than local people seeing their sons, their nephews, their grandkids score touchdowns, throw touchdowns, make tackles in Bragg Memorial Stadium every other Saturday. So we definitely want to make sure we continue to recruit the Big Bend area. And we're just thankful for me to be able to get an early preview on some of that top tier talent whenever we come to the Tallahassee Quarterback Club and we see you giving out those awards for Players of the Week.
That's awesome. So viewers, you see, be a part of the Tallahassee Quarterback Club because we make a difference and we have a lot of fun too. So do go to Tallahassee QB Club and join. It's not just an FSU organization. It's not. It's Tallahassee organization. That means Florida State University, FAMU Rattlers, and our 10 local prep football programs. And so that's awesome. Now, Coach, AD, you're kind of known as a facilities mastermind, a facilities guy. You just learned recently that the community is going to pitch in and help with money for Bragg Stadium. Tell us what that means to you to get the support, and what are the plans, and what can we expect to see at Bragg Stadium in the future?
Absolutely, and you're right. This, kind of falls right into my wheelhouse. This will be the third major football stadium renovation that I've kind of spearheaded, and this was a great signal. We started working on this under the leadership of our president, Dr. Larry Robinson. From the second we got here, and it makes you feel really good when you're in a community in your time of need, who chips in, as you stated. Again, Bragg Memorial Stadium is such an anchor in the Southside community. It's served more than just a football stadium. Most recently, we've tested up to 45,000 people in this fight against COVID-19. But it also serves as again, just such a community asset for our local high schools and for other community activities that have been housed there at Bragg Memorial Stadium. But for us, we've got some things that we've got to address that are non-sexy, when you think about a stadium, which is, preventative maintenance and some of the structural concerns related to Bragg Memorial Stadium. That's priority number one. And then number two, our goal is to stretch the resources as much as we possibly can to really bring the facility up to code in some areas, but to have flexibility with an operational press box, new lighting systems, functional restrooms, et cetera. And so, we have started that process on the campus side of it to move this project forward. But it will be an interesting timing piece, but just because of the spring season and the fall inaugural 2021. And so we will certainly be busy in the next couple of months.
That's awesome. Coach, how do you feel about what's coming to the stadium, and what's that mean to you?
I've been smiling since the decision came. Obviously growing up here, knowing all about Bragg Memorial Stadium and the history behind it, but also understanding some of the challenges that we face. When I took the head job here back in 2018, we were made aware, that some certain elements of our stadium weren't up to code, and that we were running the risk of not having a home to play our football games. And so the fact that we have this revenue coming in to be able to address those needs means the world to us, and it also means now that we'll be able to show prospective student athletes a much more enticing facility. Again, you talk about a new locker room, a new weight room, and now renovations to a stadium. We're in an era to where young men want to see nice things when it comes to facilities at their respective institutions that they're considering. So it means that we'll be able to go out and really sell Florida A&M. For 3 years now, we've been able to go out and sell a top-notch education. We've been able to say that we're one of the top institutions in all of America. Not just as an HBCU, not just at the FCS level, but nationally, we're one of the top academic institutions. And we've been able to sell that point to prospective student athletes. But our facilities haven't matched that. And now, thank God to VP Gaucher, to the administration, to our alumni who've committed to giving. Now we're able to show top-notch facilities to go with our first-class education, and that's what it's all about. And so we're very excited about the opportunity. We're just like everyone else trying to get through this year. Obviously, there's a dead period, which means we can't have student athletes on campus. We can't go see student athletes. And so hopefully when that lifts and that's cleared, we'll be able to show this 21 class things that classes before have never been able to see. And we feel like it'll go a long way, and again, allowing us to raise our recruiting profile. We already finished with the number 10 recruiting class in last year's recruiting cycle. We feel like that'll only improve with the facilities that we now have in place.
AD, you've got you could run into some timetable trouble here with getting the renovations and construction complete and starting a spring schedule that's proposed right now for the MEAC. How are you going to manage those two events?
Well, I think these is, still the words from the late John Lewis, good trouble. So good challenges for us, and our team, our facilities team, and operations teams working with this to really look at that schedule, compare it, overlay it to our spring schedule where there may be some opportunities, and then quite frankly, it is a modified schedule, so we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 dates, and so we're not as worried about it as kind of most people would insinuate. We feel that there's a great opportunity, and then quite frankly, the MEAC is now eligible as an automatic qualifier for the FC playoffs. And so typically those things, for the most part, you travel a lot in those type of playoff situations. So we think that, again, it's going to work out in our favor. Our first couple of games in the 2021 fall season are on the road anyway. And so, early on, we think we're in pretty good posture.
All right, that's awesome. Coach, we have some questions that some people wanted to hear a little bit about your recruiting experience as a young football player and how you ended up making the decision that you made and that process for you.
When I was coming out of high school?
Yeah, when you were coming out of high school and being recruited.
You mean the decision to not come to Florida State and go to Clemson? You're talking about that decision?
Yeah. Let's kind of explain yourself there.
Yeah. So again, obviously, I had the fortune of being a highly recruited student athlete coming up, Big Bend Player of the Year back in 1998, and I had a nice selection of institutions to choose from. And so really for me, it came down to what I wanted out of the college experience. I grew up here in Quincy, Florida. I had never really been outside of the Big Bend area. For me, coming to Tallahassee was the big city to me, being from Quincy. And so I honestly wanted to get away from home, really just kind of come into my own. I was a mama's boy, and so I really needed to grow up. And so many of the schools I considered were, pretty far away. And Clemson was a school that kind of fit that mold. Even though I wanted to go away from home, I still wanted a quote unquote family environment, being that I come from a large family in a small community. And so I really wanted that feel, and Clemson provided that for me. They had a great academic profile. At the time I thought I wanted to be an engineer, and they're one of the top engineering schools in the Southeast. And so they just checked a lot of boxes for me. And, old Seminole great Rick Stockstill, one recruiting rule number one: don't recruit the kid, recruit the mom. And many other schools did a better job at recruiting Willie Simmons. Rick Stockstill did a better job at recruiting Phyllis Simmons. And at the end of the day, Phyllis Simmons was going to be the one that, she didn't steer my decision, but I knew that it meant a lot to her that I considered a school that she really loved. And she really fell in love with Coach Stockstill and how genuine he was as a person, how honest he was about the entire process. And she really weighed heavily into my decision. And so that's how I ended up at Clemson. And that experience, honestly, has curved my recruiting model since I became a coach. And anyone who recruits against me, and I'm giving away some trade secrets now, you can spend all your time recruiting a young man all you want, but Willie Simmons is going to go win that mother role, because we know most of these guys are mama's boys, and they want to make decisions that make mama proud and make mama happy. So that's what Rick Stockstill did for me 20 plus years ago, and we still use that recruit model to this day. So I did visit Florida State, though. It was my last visit. I had a phenomenal time. If it was a little bit further than 20 minutes away, I really would have considered it, but I knew, being a Quincy boy, if I had spent 4 or 5 years in Tallahassee, trouble probably was following, and I wasn't willing to risk that. So that's my recruit story.
Well, we're glad you're engineering football at Florida A&M. So that's great. Well, I hope you're able to get more local players to FAMU and convince their mamas to keep them close. So that would be awesome. So you've been dealing with the pandemic before. You've been back to the office for a little bit. How's your wife and kids, and how's she liking the COVID beard?
Well, she's got used to it. She gets she enjoys it. She enjoys the time that I'm home now. Obviously as a football coach, my time now would be consumed with practices and game planning, traveling on the road. And so she understands that really between the months of August and December, time with husband, the kids' time with dad is few and far between. And so, being that I've been home basically for the last 5 months, doing a lot of virtual meetings, just working from home because we've been forced to do so, it's really been, a silver lining for me. And just being able to see my 5-year-old daughter, being able to do things with her that otherwise I've never been able to do, read stories to her, take her out and show her how to ride a bicycle, help her. She's in tennis now, so, help her practice her tennis swing. My 3-year-old son, who is all over the place, and just really being able to see him, just grow and learn and now throw for the first time, see him pick up balls and throw them, and just see how natural he is as an athlete, really just makes my heart warm. And then obviously we just had our newest baby back right before COVID hit, back in March. And so just being able to help, my wife out with the baby, because in the past I wouldn't be able to do that. And so just being able to do those things have really been a blessing for me. And now that we're back in the office, she's now adjusting back to me being to work. And so I get those phone calls about around 5:30 every afternoon. What time you coming home? So she hadn't really gotten back into football wife mode yet. I think she's still in COVID wife mode where she expects me to be there all day long. But it's been a challenge, obviously. Just the toughest part has been being away from the guys for so long. And many of those young men have some pretty insurmountable challenges when it comes to their home life, financial, issues that they have, mental health. During this time has been something that's been kind of overlooked during this COVID crisis, and just the mental makeup of these young guys, because they operate on routine and they're used to knowing what spring schedule looks like, knowing what summer looks like as far as conditioning in class, leading up into training camp and being in football mode from August to December. And now that's completely different for many of these guys. And so taking them out of that routine, they're not able to socialize the way that they're used to, go to parties, hang out on campus. We haven't been able to have a set Friday, which is a FAMU staple. And so just so many things that have been changed because of COVID-19 has really forced us to really look at how much we pay attention to our young men and young women, for that matter, as university leaders. So, but again, I commend my administration for doing a stand-up job with it, and we're continuing to do everything we can to put them in the best position to be successful. And this too shall pass, but in the meantime, it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure we keep our arms figuratively around our young men and women.
Coach, you mentioned telling the story about Clemson, and Clemson is at the top of the football world right now. What programs out there are having an influence, or are you watching and looking for what they're doing, and what are you taking away from some of these programs, and who you keep an eye on? And
well, obviously Clemson is the one I look at the most. Many of my college teammates are part of that staff. Tony Elliott, who's their offensive coordinator, was a teammate of mine. Jeff Scott, who just left to take the head job at South Florida as a co-offensive coordinator at Clemson for the last 6 years, was another teammate of mine. We came in the same year. Brandon Streeter, the quarterback coach, was the quarterback when I got there, starting quarterback. And so just knowing those guys personally, being able to pick up the phone, call them, ask them about some of the things that they're doing schematically, ask them more so about what they're doing culturally, because I think that's the biggest difference. What they've done as a culture there is nothing short of amazing. Dabo has really left his footprint on that university and on that athletics program about what it means to be a family. I tell my team all the time, I try not to emulate other teams, so to speak, but there's so many things that we can take away from them, just in the way they carry themselves, as far as not being on social media doing training camp, the way they took a stand during the social injustices, which many teams have done. So not just highlighting Clemson, but it really makes me proud as an alum to see what they've done as a collective football team. And And so I follow them. Obviously, being right here in Tallahassee, I try to make sure I keep a close eye on what goes on at Florida State. And I know some of the coaches over there. I've had an opportunity to meet Coach Norvell and some of the new coaches. And, always trying to just pick their brains about, some of the successes that they've all had. Obviously, Coach Norvell has been very successful as a head coach. We're very similar in age. He has a few more gray hairs than me, but very similar in age and all the things. So we had a chance to watch those guys practice this spring. My entire staff went over and watched them practice. I had a chance to clinic with Coach Dillingham this summer. And so really just trying to pick those guys' brains about what they've done over the years to be successful. And then the list goes on. And I've been blessed to be around some quality coaches throughout my tenure. Rick Stockstill is one of my mentors that I talk to pretty often. And then the coach I play for, Tommy Bowden, even though he's out of coaching, he's still a mentor to me. I can pick the phone up at any time and call and ask for advice. So, I try to learn from as many people as I can. I never claim to have all the answers. I try to put all the philosophies and things that I've seen over my 15 years of coaching together to put together a philosophy that, allows these young men to be themselves, to get the very most out of them. And fortunately for us, we've been able to have some success here. And I think that's attributed to the many great influences that I've had as a coach throughout my career.
That's great. Now I'm going to ask each of you guys in a few minutes to ask each other one question. So I'm putting you on notice now, okay? So be thinking about that. But listen, if you're tuning in right now to the Tallahassee Quarterback Club's digital program with head coach Willie Simmons and FAMU AD and Vice President Courtney Gaucher, we thank you for tuning in. We hope that you'll go to our website, check out information about the Tallahassee Quarterback Club. We hope you'll join. It's one of the best values and entertainment values in Tallahassee. Membership is very easy to become a member. Your membership is very affordable. We have payment plans that stretch out 12 months, and all of it includes these great speakers. It includes meals at the University Center Club in Tallahassee, and we do a lot of good supporting the players who play the game that we love. And we hope you would consider joining with us by going to TallahasseeQBClub.com. Take a look at it. Our first face-to-face event is going to be October the 13th. So go ahead and check us out and join us today at TallahasseeQBClub.com. So, AD, Coach's name comes up quite a bit for coaching vacancies. That says a lot about him, says a lot about FAMU. What are your thoughts on that, and what are we doing to see if we can keep this guy around for a long time in Tallahassee?
Well, you're right. And, I know he talked a little bit about culture. And I think Coach is a great example of establishing a culture. A culture of compliance, a culture of academic excellence, but then the culture of winning and developing young men, not only on the field, but off the field. And that's what you want. You also, as an AD, it's a blessing and a curse to always kind of have other people, kind of looking at your guy and saying, hey, I think he'd be a great fit here. But that's what you want as an AD. You want to have people thinking about the guy that you have. And it's my job to find a way to keep him here. So he mentioned gray hair. I think my second week on the job, I got a phone call from another AD saying, hey, I want to talk to your coach. And I said, not happening. But, Coach Simmons and I think one of the things that really have ensured, our quick start here is that relationship. We talk on a daily basis. We have these conversations. We talk about what our aspirations are for FAMU athletics and how we're going to get there together. And so I think that's very important as you start to really establish a culture as an athletics director, to make sure that you're aligned with your head football coach, that you're providing the resources to keep him and his staff, because, again, you've got to make sure that they have the appropriate personnel around them to support our student athletes and make sure that we're lifting up our university in the best way possible.
Okay, Willie, we're going to send you this clip too, so that you'll have it. You could send back to him during evaluation time. Okay, so now you got two clips to share. That's awesome. So we're talking about FAMU football here, and Coach Simmons, I want to commend you for the work that you're trying to do outside of football in our community. and trying to impact the Tallahassee community when it comes to youth violence and some of the issues that we face in our inner city and some of the areas in our community. And I had a great opportunity to walk with you in the projects area a few weeks back. I want to commend you for that, and I'd like for you to tell us why you decided it was important for you to be involved. But before then, AD, what about this, that coaches, how important is it to FAMU, and what does it mean that we have Coach being a leader in our community and not just on Saturday game days?
I think it's one of the greatest examples of character that I've probably seen in my tenure in collegiate athletics. It's not about, winning the games, it's about winning the lives. And Coach Simmons not only talks that, but he walks that. And to lead by example, I actually struggle sometimes to keep up with him. I'm like, okay, what are we doing now? And, hey, we're marching with our kids, or hey, we're going over here to do this, or we're doing a relief fund, for the people impacted at Pensacola. And as a young administrator myself, I appreciate Coach's, wisdom and discernment in that. And it's not just Coach, and I'll say this, I know he talked a little bit earlier about, recruiting the mom. His wife is equally as passionate about these young men and women and developing them off the field as well. And again, there's no better fit for FAMU athletics and as our head football coach.
That's awesome. Coach, why did you get involved?
Well,
it's easy not to get involved. That's the easiest thing.
Right. Well, a few reasons. One, again, I'm a product of this area. I grew up here, and whatever happens here affects me, affects my family, affects my community. I have a daughter that goes to school here on the South Side, and so obviously, when I went to the fair, my wife and I not went to the fair, but when we went to celebrate our first conference championship in a long time after beating Howard last year, and to see two young people lose their lives right there near us really hit home. And again, these were young people that are not much older than my 15-year-old, and my 15-year-old and my 14-year-old wanted to go to the fair. And they're at the age now where you, as a parent, you kind of feel comfortable letting them go and maybe just giving them some money and let them enjoy themselves instead of having to hold their hand the entire time. And just to think that, it would be my wife, receiving that phone call. And the one moment that I'll never forget, was the mother of one of the young men, coming to the scene and asking the police officers if they'd seen her son. And she said, hey, he was supposed to meet me down at McDonald's. So she expected her son to meet her at McDonald's to take him home from the fair. But instead, he's lying in the street, after being shot, by, some gang members. And so, when that happened, immediately my mind went to, what can we do? As prominent members of this community, as people that have voices that many people will listen to, how can we make a difference? And so it's not just me. I don't want to take the credit for a lot of the things that I do. I have a great support group. I have a lot of great individuals who've taken initiative. Attorney Mutaki Akbar was right out there walking with me through the South Side and through the right there on Tennessee Street and Joe Lewis projects. Ricardo Lewis, one of my high school teammates, who drove up from Orlando to really take a stand. DJ Dapp, Joe Bullard, you name it. There are many individuals who've taken up this fight against gun violence here in Tallahassee. And so it's something that we're all passionate about. And any chance that we get to make a difference in this community, like you said, it would be very easy to sit back and pick the newspaper up and say, oh man, there's another shooting. Man, these kids in Tallahassee are going crazy. It'd be easy to say that, but what can we do? And for us to get out and walk the streets and to really talk to people and really just to hear their concerns is something that I think we're all charged with whenever we get these positions. Yes, it's nice to run out of the tunnel as the head coach of Florida A&M and to have 25,000 fans screaming for my football team, but it's much more rewarding, when I look up and I see a group of kids at NIMS Middle School, at Rickards High School, at Bond Elementary School, really take in the information that we're giving them about how you can be successful here in Tallahassee without picking up a gun, without joining a gang, without getting involved in street life. And that's much more rewarding. So I've always been under the mindset that my position is one of servant leadership. I follow the model of Jesus. You know, Jesus washed feet to show that he was a servant, that he didn't come here to lead, he came to serve. And so if the greatest man ever walked the face of the earth can take that motto, well, then who am I to go against that? So I'm brought here to serve. I'm brought here to serve this community, to serve this university, to serve the young men that I'm blessed to coach every single day, and anyone I come in contact with. And so as long as the good Lord gives me this platform, that's what I plan on doing with it. So I don't want the credit for any of it. I don't care if my name ever goes into the paper about anything that I do off the field. But at the end of the day, I just pray and hope that the young men and women that we're able to really have a profound impact on this community, because again, with their help, we can make Tallahassee one of the best cities in the United States.
Well, I commend you for that, Willie. We're so proud of you, and we thank you for your efforts and your intent and your heart here in Tallahassee, and anything we can do to help you. All you have to do is let us know. We appreciate that. I'm going to let each of you ask your question in just a minute, but we have a Facebook question. People are watching on Tallahassee Quarterback Club Facebook and on our website, www.tallahasseeqbclub.com. And in a day's time, you'll be able to replay this on our website. But the question from Facebook, and I'm going to let you explain it, is, are we going to accept Ocho's proposition? And they want to hear from you guys both. Would you first tell the viewers that's not aware of what we're talking about, and then give your answer? Are we going to take him up on his proposition?
Well, I'll let the boss answer it, but I gotta tell what happened. So, obviously, when Deion was named head coach at Jackson State, a news outlet leaked his potential staff, and it was filled with who's who, Hall of Fame players: Warren Sapp, Terrell Owens, who else was on there? I can't remember, but it was about 5 Hall of Famers that were named as his potential staff. And Deion, of course, came out and refuted that. But after that, Ocho Cinco put out a tweet that said, basically something along the lines of, hey, Famu, we're not going to allow them to do that, right? Kind of alluding to, hey, just bring me on. If they want to have a Hall of Fame staff, bring me to FAMU as a coach, and we'll show them what a Hall of Fame staff looks like. So I've actually been trying to contact Ocho Cinco for a while, because he's been one of our biggest supporters. He always retweets about the football program, about the March 100, about the university as a whole. I mean, he's just a huge FAMU advocate. And so I was trying to think of the right thing to say to him. So I just put something as simple as, hey, hit me up, And so, right now it's a lot of great conversation piece. He actually posted a picture today of himself working out in one of our team shirts. Our motto this year is Leave No Doubt. And so he had on the Leave No Doubt shirt, getting at it in the weight room. So that's a surprise to me and my boss. We're like, hold on, where did he get that shirt from? The equipment guy comes walking out like, well, yeah, I sent it to him. So that was a funny moment today. But I'll let my boss answer that question, because, again, I can't hire him without the money there to hire him. So I'll throw the hot seat on my boss to see if there's something we can do.
Well, Courtney, it sounds like you have a warm lead right here.
Hey, and I'll say this, obviously, Chad has been an advocate and a longtime supporter. The matter of fact, the day I was introduced, he tweeted at us, and so it would, I think it would be an exciting time to bring Chad Ochocinco to Tallahassee. And you never know.
Wait, is this breaking news? Are we going to break news right here on the Tallahassee Quarterback Club?
I think there's a little bit of work to be done, but we'll see what happens. But my previous institution, hey, they brought on Ed Reed as chief of staff, and so I think you're seeing the trend within the industry. And trust me, we brag different, so we're not going to be outdone.
Okay, Ocho, if you're listening tonight, call these guys. They're looking for you to hit them up. That would be so cool. Well, that's neat. Well, listen, what have you thought about, Coach, to ask your boss? What's the question you have for him?
Well, I can ask him where I can get one of those fly jackets from, would be one of the first questions that I'd ask. But no, so what I will ask him, obviously this summer there's a lot of information that comes out at FAMU. A lot of it's not true. but there was a report coming out about FAMU and Florida State playing the game this summer with all the COVID. So is that something that you foresee before your tenure ends in 70 years as athletics director here at FAMU?
See, we are going to have breaking news tonight. I can tell. Breaking news right here.
I'll put them on the hot spot.
Hey, that is a tough one, but I'll tell you this: one of the first people who picked up the phone and called me in, and again, it speaks to our community. David Coburn, the AD at Florida State, picked up the phone and said, "Courtney, hey, welcome to Tallahassee. We want to be a resource for you." And we talk pretty often. Several members of his staff, Ashton Henderson, his SWA, and Jim Curry, and so we have had dialogue. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that our teams will play one day in several sports. And so, still a lot of work to be done. I can't show all my cards here, but I could definitely see something happening in the near future. And obviously, football scheduling it's a puzzle in itself. And so, we hope we have the opportunity. And again, I think we'll work towards that.
Now, AD, my daughter is a softball player for Florida State University, so we do play FAMU in softball, and I know that you just brought Coach Wiggins, Veronica, on a permanent position. So thank you for doing that. She's awesome.
We appreciate it. She was going to retire on us, but we said we can't let you go home. So.
She is absolutely a great representative for your university. Okay, AD, have you thought about the question for Coach?
Absolutely. So Coach, I'll say this. How many points do you think we're going to be able to score the first game in the SWAC?
Wow. So that's against Jackson State, huh?
This is breaking news for sure. Here we go.
Yeah, this is a hot seat question for real. So, is Dion going to play? Is he going to get to go on the field and play? As long as Warren Sapp doesn't get to rush the pass and Dion doesn't get to cover Xavier Smith, I think we'll put up a great showing. But again, I think that we have the ability to be as dynamic offensively.
Excuse me, Coach. I got to interrupt you. I think he's asking for a number.
Well, I got to lead into it, but again, we've been a part of some pretty prolific offenses. Back when I was at Alcorn State, we led the nation in scoring at 44 points a game. Then the very next year at Prairie View, we finished second at Alcorn. We led the nation in scoring at Prairie View, right around 45 points a game. And we have as much talent on this team, if not more, than either one of those teams. And so with the staff that we've assembled, with Coach Klonikas coming in as offensive line coach, with the playmakers that we have out wide, and now with the strength and conditioning coach that I've had the opportunity to meet, that I know will get us bigger, faster, and stronger. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that if we go out and play well, that we can eclipse that mark of 40 plus points. And so I hopefully we don't need that much to win the game. Hopefully we can Coach Street and that top-notch defensive eyes can keep those guys at bay. But every time we go out with the football, we're going to call plays to score. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to take our shots. We're going to get those guys the ball. And if they make the plays I think we're capable of making, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't light up the scoreboard down there in Miami Gardens.
Now, CAD, we gave you a clip, too, for you to have in your back pocket as well now, right?
Hey, we love to hear it, Coach.
Well, listen, I appreciate you guys so much being part of this program, and we're very proud to have you not just part of the Tallahassee Quarterback Club, but also of the Tallahassee community. You guys are awesome, and you definitely represent our community and FAMU very highly, and we thank you for that. And this, before we close out, each of you tell us, what's the best way for our community to support FAMU and what you're doing?
I'll be quick. Boss Man has a lot longer answer. His is going to involve joining the Rattler Athletic Fund, all those things. So for us, I think it's just, really finding ways to support these young men in any way possible. Obviously financially is the easiest way. We need it. We need funds to run this football program the way that Rattler Nation wants it to be run. But again, these young men, well, my goal is that they have a full or well-rounded college experience. And so I encourage our community, anytime you can offer some, I hate to call it free help, but volunteer your time, your resources to assist these young men, feel free to do so. You know, if you want to, if you own a business and you want to, employ one of them, if you want to teach them about, financial matters, or, show them what it's like to open up a checking account, just the little things that being an athlete a lot of times takes away because their time is so committed to being a great football player and a great student. I encourage you to do so. And so any idea that you come up with, there's no idea too big or too small that we won't consider it. And so reach out to me, follow me on social media at HC Willie Simmons on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Willie R. Simmons, and just shoot me a DM. Do like Johnny Devine does. Johnny just sends me random inbox DMs on Facebook all the time. I have no idea what he's talking about or what he's asking for. I think he just gets bored and just wants to mess with me. So, but if Johnny can do it, anybody can do it. If I respond to Johnny, I'm going to respond to anybody else. So
there you go. And you got him thrown in there. That's good.
Reach out to me, and I love to partner with him.
Great. I've got one more follow-up with you, Coach. But AD, what can we do, the community, to do to best support you and family?
So, I think this is a great opportunity for us to showcase, again, our university, our programs. But, for anyone in Tallahassee, if you've never been to a FAMU athletics event or a game, buy a ticket, come over, experience, and let's kind of share that experience that makes up the DNA of our community, Tallahassee and in Leon County in particular. But then too, financially, join the Rattler Athletic Fund. That can be done on our website at famuathletics.com, the invest/give tab, and any contributions from $1 to $1 million, greatly appreciative of those. But those dollars really make a difference in the lives of our student athletes, and to be able to position them to, again, strive for excellence. And we're just, again, so privileged and honored to have this opportunity to share some of the great things that are happening at our university.
That's fantastic. Well, let me share one a little bit more about this fall season for the Tallahassee Quarterback Club for our viewers who are out there watching. We're going to have 8 in-person events that will begin in October the 13th, and will go all the way to February the 2nd. We meet every few weeks on a Tuesday evening. We have a great time. This year we have some outstanding speakers, just as we always do. We have Anquan Bolden, who obviously is a future Hall of Famer, excellent career in the NFL. We have Coach Rod Rodriguez that's going to be coming here and sharing football stories and experiences with us. We have broadcasting legend Leslie Visser, who's going to be here sharing with us. We have E.J. Manuel. We have Shade Tree Marvin Jones that's going to be coming in. And we also have Coach Mark Rick that's going to be with us. We have many more that's going to be with us this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of great stories will be shared. You'll get to see some local student athletes get presented and get recognition for the excellence that they do on and off the field. And it's a great thing to be a part of. Coach, you've become a Tallahassee Quarterback Club favorite, crowd pleaser in the short period that you've been here. Tell everybody about the Quarterback Club and why they should be a member.
Well, like you said, it supports the entire community. It's not just Florida State. It's FAMU. It's the local high schools. It's everything that makes this community great. It's an opportunity for many individuals to come together and really make a difference, in the lives of so many young people. And that's what we're put here to do, to just make their experiences great. And the Tallahassee Quarterback Club has been doing that for over 60 years. And so just the love that we receive every time we come over is amazing. I enjoy the banter, the back and forth. The one thing I miss is the food. It's always a great meal. And but just so many great things that the Tallahassee Quarterback Club has done for so many people over the years is why you should get involved. And it's an organization that really cares, that really puts his money where his mouth is. And so many young people have benefited from the experiences that they've received from the Tallahassee Quarterback Club. So I'm thankful to be a part. I'm thankful that You allowed me to come by and spend time and fellowship with such a great group of individuals. And my wife and I truly enjoy it. And, we hopefully one day get to bring her back. The next time everyone sees us, she'll for the first time be a normal sized woman. I think both times she's come, she's been pregnant. And so the Simmons are committed to no more kids. 6 is enough for us. And so next time you'll see her, she'll be a model figure woman.
Okay, I hope you don't get in trouble for those remarks. But thank you for that pitch. The check's on the way. Listen, guys, you guys are welcome to our meetings this fall. You don't have a lot of things going on, and since your season's delayed, please be our guest at every one of these meetings. You're a member of the Tallahassee Quarterback Club by virtue of your positions at Florida A&M. So we thank you for tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope you'll agree to do this again. But first of all, we want to be sure we get you in person to our meetings. But thank you so much for being part of this. And I think we got breaking news several places tonight. So, but thank you guys so much for being part of this tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us here. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can share this event tomorrow by going to our website. You can share it with your friends who didn't get to see this broadcast, and we hope you do. And we hope you'll go online to TallahasseeQBClub.com. Join the Tallahassee Quarterback Club. If you're in the local community and you love football, you'll love the Tallahassee Quarterback Club, and we need you. Everybody.